Oh, you've undoubtedly heard about this suddenly popular social media site. And the first thing I have to talk about is the name. Because how do you pronounce that? Is it Parler or Parler? Well, as far as I can tell, Parler was the intended pronunciation. But considering the politically incorrect leanings of the site's users, I'm more inclined to say the word with the hard R, so it's Parler. Twitter's blatant censorship has gotten so crazy that they have tried to suppress the president's tweets. His tweets are the best tweets, the biggest tweets, the most popular tweets. People join Twitter just to read the president's tweets. Seriously, they do. A large part of Twitter's audience is there mainly to read the president's tweets. And now, Twitter has decided to suppress and censor the president. The result has been pretty obvious. A lot of people are leaving Twitter.
Motherfuckers!
So Parler became very popular very quickly. Should you switch to Parler, though? Or should you stay on Twitter? Well, I can answer that for you. Quite often when I explore any idea, I like to bounce my opinions off the opinions of others. Kind of like the response videos that used to be popular, back when people directly compared their perspectives to others. I have just the thing for that. Anthony Brian Logan voiced his opinion on the subject a while back. He's respected, and he's usually very sharp. But this time I think he missed the mark. Fortunately, he explained his points well enough for me to offer my counterpoints. The video I took this from wasn't actually about Parler. The title of the video was Thoughts on Trump's Executive Order on Preventing Online Censorship. His opinion of the Parler site came up near the end of that video, though.
I think the solution to this online censorship, which we know is happening, I mean, we know conservatives are being targeted. The only real solution is to go to a better place. That's it. I mean, really, that's really all you can do. People talking about other sites that exist like Gab and Parler. Nothing against Gab and Parler, but I don't want to go over there because it's kind of seen as like a wasteland, kind of a castaway place, or you couldn't make it on Twitter, or you cannot, get things going on Twitter. You got censored, you got removed or booted out of Twitter. So now you got to come over here to Gab and Parler. You're not able to grow like that because these websites have a lot of the same kind of people that are like-minded, that don't like Twitter, that don't like the censorship. So you guys are all kind of in one echo chamber. You can't grow like that. So, I mean, you want to be able to have open Discord with everybody from all sides. The only thing that could really change Twitter, Facebook, etc., is viable competition. A thing that kind of grows organically, that is not kind of pressed upon you because you feel like an outcast. It's the same kind of way Facebook grew, MySpace, the same way Twitter grew. Twitter grew because there was a particular need for that style of a website, and they filled that need. Same thing with TikTok. As Chinese company, that's a different story. I digress. Anyway, TikTok is like, for kids dancing and stuff like that. That's how they grew. It wasn't like, oh, I can't go to YouTube and do it. I can't go over here and do this. I want to go over here because it's cool and I like it. It has to grow like that. If it does not grow like that, then there's no actual growth that can actually happen in a real way that would benefit you as a person. If you're trying to make money on this, if you're trying to spread a message, you can't really spread a message and get it out to the masses if you're kind of in the enclave of people that had kind of been, jaded by a different website.
So we need viable competition.
Viable competition.
But Anthony doesn't want to take part in the current competition to help them become viable? Okay, let's go through that. First,
the only real solution is to go to a better place.
The only real solution is to go to a better place. Right, that sounds good. I'm on board with that. And that sounds like a good reason to get onto Parler. But
so now you got to come over here to Gab and Parler. You're not able to grow like that because these websites have a lot of the same kind of people that are like-minded, that don't like Twitter, that don't like the censorship. So you guys are all kind of in one echo chamber. You can't grow like that.
An echo chamber? Why is it an echo chamber?
These websites have a lot of the same kind of people that are like-minded, that don't like Twitter, that don't like the censorship.
Uh-huh. It's an echo chamber because everyone there has a distaste for censorship. Resisting censorship has a rather peculiar effect on people. It places them in echo chambers. Well, that's a real hard choice. Accept censorship or join an echo chamber. Well, forgetting the anti-censorship part of this echo chamber argument, I can see how someone can look at Parler and say that it's mostly conservative and is therefore an echo chamber. I have to reject that, though. Not all conservatives think alike. Conservative thought is pretty broad. That, on its own, cannot create an echo chamber. Besides that, when you're talking about similar sites, like Minds, for example, I can promise you there is no echo chamber there. I know because I've been on Minds for a long time, and I see a lot of different perspectives. Kooky conspiracy theorists, anarcho-coconuts, Antifa goons, uber-libertarians, and Nazi morons. Oh, and speaking of that last one, Nazis and other assorted white supremacist creeps. They have a place on freedom of speech sites. Do you have a lot of those guys on Twitter? And that's my answer to Anthony's next point.
You want to be able to have open discord with everybody from all sides.
You don't have open discourse with everybody from all sides if any side is missing. Now, I've got no love for the swastika puffballs. I even put together a series of anti-Semitic memes just to mock those cretins. But they are not represented on Twitter. Even if you can find some, they can't really speak their opinions over there, can they? Now, I'll grant you, I don't much care to hear anything from the Aryan advocates. But freedom of speech doesn't have that kind of exception. And if you're going to talk about having all sides represented, you can't cut some people out of the conversation. And to make it clear, it's not just the white power goofballs who can't take part in Twitter. It's a lot of people. Now, it is true that Twitter has a broader range of perspectives than any of their competition. But don't try to sell me on the idea that everyone from all sides gets to engage in the great debate on Twitter. That is not one of Twitter's strengths. Even if it were, do you really think that the open discourse on Twitter is valuable? There is no way for Twitter or any similar site to have a great deal of meaningful dialogue. As I am writing this, no shit, I just opened Twitter to see a My Little Pony-shaped sex doll, and a few tweets down from that is a picture of a dog humping a sheep. Those unfortunate images aside, the political and social discourse doesn't raise the bar very much. It's Twitter. Everyone is on Twitter. Everyone. That means you're going to run into a lot of opinions that are not exactly well thought out. It's not a site for intellectual debate. Even the science fiction and comic book conversations very quickly descend into cheap insults and bullshit. Twitter gave everyone everywhere the means to speak their piece, and it usually doesn't amount to much. No one goes to Twitter for the discourse. They go there to start fights while wearing their pajamas safe at home.
The only thing that could really change Twitter, Facebook, etc. is viable competition. A thing that kind of grows organically, that is not kind of pressed upon you because you feel like an outcast.
You see, that's what attracts people to Parler now. It's where the outcasts gather. Alt-tech sites are havens for outcasts. And that makes them cool.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
It's not just conservatives that get the axe from Twitter and Facebook. Everyone is in danger whenever they say anything, and everyone knows it. Some prefer to play by the rules. Some people prefer to speak their minds. The price for that is pretty high, though. Twitter does not approve of wrongthink. It's real easy to get on their bad side, and then you can be punished or even banned outright. Now, I understand Anthony's point. Twitter is bigger. It's more popular. It has a much larger fan base that you can appeal to. But if you really want to create
viable competition,
then you're going to have to support Twitter's competition. That competition does have to have something that Twitter doesn't. But right now, freedom of speech is something that Twitter does not have. Like I said, though, I do have a simple solution to this red and blue problem. You take the blue pill, and you stay on Twitter. You keep a broad audience on a more popular platform, but you have to watch your words every single time you tweet. You will not be able to truly express yourself. You take the red pill. You use Parler. You have much more freedom, but you deal with a smaller piece of the internet. And there aren't as many left-wingers to argue with. If you don't want the red pill, this option comes in green pill and yellow pill varieties as well. Oh, that's quite a handful of pills to choose from, and that only makes it harder. Which one pill do you take? Well, see, that's the answer. Forget the matrix. This is not an either-or decision. When it comes to these particular pills, I'm going to emulate the late, great Hunter S. Thompson, an outspoken rogue who would have had a hard time staying on Twitter. What would Thompson do with a variety of pills in hand? Well, obviously, he would take them all. And that's the answer. It might drive you a little crazy. It might even take just a little bit more effort. But you do not have to leave Twitter behind. You can maintain your presence there, and also maintain a presence on one or more of the free speech alternatives. A lot of people do. I have accounts on several, and plenty of the people that I follow copy and paste the content of a tweet, gab, or parlay so they can put that exact thought on other sites as well. You can keep your following on Twitter. You can still engage in the peerless debates on Twitter. And you can also post your thoughts to the other sites as well. Now, some people might not want to go to the trouble, but in my opinion, the exhausting effort of copy and paste is a small price to pay to support free speech.